Welcome to the LIQUI MOLY USA podcast, your monthly update on the happenings of LIQUI MOLY in both the United States and Canada. From new product information to all the LIQUI MOLY Motorsports results, we have you covered. And now, your host of the LIQUI MOLY USA podcast, Mike Crosby.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural edition of the LIQUI MOLY podcast. I'm your host, Mike Crosby, and I hope all of you are staying safe and healthy. We've been planning this podcast for over a year now, and really happy to finally launch it for all of our distributors and customers in both the U.S. and Canada. Joining us now on the LIQUI MOLY podcast is a Renaissance man in his own right, racer, team owner, actor, and of course, taco connoisseur, Mr. Will Turner. Will, thanks for joining us on the LIQUI MOLY podcast. I wish I was talking to you at a race. I hope your family and team are safe and healthy.
Wow, that was quite an intro. Do I need to pay you for all those kind words, or what?
Yeah, just donate it to a worthy charity. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's healthy out here, but we're trying to, do the right thing and make sure that we don't contribute to spreading of anything. We still have a lot of work to do up here. It's weird because I think, compared to the rest of the world, or the rest of the country, like Boston was relatively earlier in, the social distancing and kind of the lockdown stuff. So it seems like we've been at it for a month now, but it has only been really 2 weeks.
Right. You truly had an amazing season last year with the win at Petite and the release of the movie featuring your car and your team. Tell us a little bit about 2019.
2019 was amazing for both those reasons. The movie, I mean, how amazing of an experience it was, not only to make the movie and to be exposed to how all that works, but to actually get some screen time. I mean, when we kind of were introduced to the idea of being in the art of racing in the rain, it was like, maybe you'll get 2 seconds, or maybe you'll get 2 minutes. We can't promise anything. We never know until the production or the producer or whatever or even the director, where they edit it at the end of how much time you'd get. So, the whole time when we spent almost 20 full days doing the shooting for this, we were still under the impression that it could be 2 seconds or it could be, again, 2 minutes. And we were pleasantly surprised when the trailer came out and you saw the blue and yellow Turner LIQUI MOLY car. It was amazing. And still, right now, the movie seems to be more popular than ever because, I don't think a lot of people wanted to go out to the movies and see an emotional story where they might shed a tear. And I think at home, they can rent this movie and shed the tear at home. And a lot of people are emailing me just now and saying how awesome the movie is and how cool it was to see our car.
Yeah, that's great. Truly was a really, really cool experience, without a doubt. I know you have a new car for 2020 and some new drivers. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so for 2020 over 2019, we are racing the M4 GT4 for the full season. And, that very much complements our program with the M6 GT3. We're at the same IMSA events on the race weekends. Obviously, we're the BMW team that we could, we're expected to run as much and as many of the new BMWs as possible. And for Sebring, although it has been postponed, we were planning on showing up with both our M4s and our M6 and, give it a shot for a full season run on the championship. The M4 is pretty cool little car, and I say little because it is smaller than the M6, but it's not little in its capabilities. To the turbo and the power on that thing and the low end torque and the 50-50 weight distribution really makes it an awesome car to race. So we're looking forward to, we got our feet wet last year, but we're looking forward to giving it a better shot this year to go for a championship, or at least some race wins.
Sure. You were able to get in one race before the season was suspended. How was Daytona for you?
Daytona was ups and downs all around. We had in the big race, the 24-hour race, our M6 GTD car performed. It couldn't have gone any better as far as a team or a car standpoint. So I guess it's all thumbs up in that. But what happened to us was the way that the rules came out, we were not able to run the same number of laps on a full tank as a competition. And normally that wouldn't be that much of a hindrance in a race, except that there was virtually the fewest number of yellows in any 24 hours of Daytona. So we were never able to get back up and catch up to the cars that could go more laps. Not sure if I explained that correctly, but it was basically had a great car. Everything went well, but we just didn't have the car fuel capacity to win the race.
Sure.
So that was a disappointment. But again, we executed well as a team, and the car ran great. And we weren't the fastest car, but we were one of the 5 fastest cars. So that just gives me some optimism for the rest of the season. So hopefully, once we start racing again, we can continue on all the good stuff.
Right.
That was also the first race where we raced 2 of the M4s. And that race was a little bit one I'd like to have a do-over. We kept having some rear tire punctures, and we couldn't figure out what was going on and why it was happening. And to this day, we're still kind of working with Michelin to find out why that was happening. It didn't just happen to us; it happened to some other cars as well. But it basically took us out of the ability to do well in the race. Again, we're working with Michelin to try to figure that out so that the next race will be okay.
Yeah, interesting. Now you mentioned the rest of the season, the $24,000 question. What is the latest on the rest of the IMSA schedule?
Yeah, I think everybody's cautiously optimistic, saying that we want to get back to racing in the end of June, which would be Watkins Glen. If you look at what's going on now, what is it, April 2nd? You look at what's going on; it's projected to get worse.
Right.
And I don't know, I think that's pretty optimistic, even to go racing back in end of June, if we're on, if we're doing a social distancing for another month. And after that, I don't think things are going to resume right away. But look, everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants to go racing, but also everybody wants to stay healthy and stay safe. So, IMSA's only really canceled Long Beach, which was our race that was supposed to happen next week or the week after. The rest of the races they've postponed. So if we have to just race towards more towards the end of the year, that's fine. And if we have to race in November and December, we're from Boston. We know how to race in the snow.
There you go. Can you fit chains on the on the M6?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Bill Auberlen is now going for win number 61, and I guess the most wins overall in IMSA. Do you have something big planned for that win?
Man, it's bittersweet when he hits that race. First of all, he's been racing in a Turner BMW for a bunch of years now, and we've had a lot of success with Bill. And I couldn't be happier to have him, on our team and in our car going for that record. So that part's awesome. So even even if he at the end of each race, if he doesn't win, we're still excited the fact that we have the chance to, you know, to be that team and to be that car where he eventually will get that record. But you know, once he gets it, you know, what's next? You know, it's kind of like I'm like, all right, so you get the record of that. The guys that are behind you are retired. So what do we go for after that? Do we what's the next carrot? Right now, the carrot really is we want to get him that 61. We want to share in that, you know, in that prize. And again, the team's all set up for success. We got a great bunch of guys in the crew, and obviously, you know, the support from LIQUI MOLY and BMW and everything. Like we're all the ducks are lined up. We just gotta get them across the finish line first.
Right. And, you know, this is our third season with you. And I've been to a bunch of races, and I must say it's so enjoyable with your team because it's truly a family. And I think that's the biggest difference I've noticed in some of the factory back teams and your team. How has it been, 3 seasons now with LIQUI MOLY for you?
Well, one of the amazing things that was kind of, I'm not saying it was unexpected. Well, I guess it was unexpected. One of the biggest things that I've noticed about joining the LIQUI MOLY family is how much reach LIQUI MOLY has all over the world. People come out of the woodwork from everywhere as a race fan, as a Turner fan, but also as a LIQUI MOLY fan now. And I think that it's much more than, you know, just a lubricant brand or an oil brand. I mean, it's there really is some kind of connection because we have different countries, we have different motorsports. We have motorcyclists, we have boat people, we have power sports. It's amazing the reach that LIQUI MOLY has, and what that does is it actually motivates us and it motivates the team even more because we want to do well and we want to show the LIQUI MOLY family what we can do. So that's super cool. Like that I wasn't expecting. And of course, obviously, the support that we get from LIQUI MOLY, just in general, with anything we need for the race car, or if we need to develop a little bit more temperature reduction or horsepower increase in some places, the LIQUI MOLY engineers are great to work with on that. And we want to keep this up, and we want to keep winning and have success for LIQUI MOLY and for BMW, and see how long we can keep going with this.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. Well, I sure appreciate your time today and for joining us on the LIQUI MOLY podcast. Best of luck, when the season gets started again. And, I hope your family and the rest of the team stays healthy.
Likewise. Thanks again for reaching out. And we wish you guys all the best as well.
Joining us next on the LIQUI MOLY podcast is Western Regional Power Sports Manager for LIQUI MOLY, Jason Hess. Jason has been involved in all aspects of power sports for many years. Jason, welcome to the LIQUI MOLY podcast, and I hope you and your family are staying healthy.
Thanks, Mike. This is definitely different times right now, but it's everybody's doing good.
Well, good. Glad to hear that. Hey, I understand that you're introducing a new weekly power sports show on the LIQUI MOLY USA YouTube channel. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, that's going to be something kind of exciting. So we have a whole new YouTube channel that was launched. I think it was last Wednesday. What we're going to kind of do is roll out some live feeds every Wednesday on the IG page to do some interviews. And then that same night on Wednesday, I think at 5:00, the videos will be released on the channel. So anybody that's interested in seeing that stuff, make sure you subscribe, because on the most recent one that we just dropped, I know there's a promo attached to it as well. So it's going to be kind of fun.
Nice. It sounds like it. What was the topic for your first video?
So the first video, we're touching base. We're going to go through all of our shooter line in power sports, but the first one was on MOS2, our oil additive.
Right. And that's a relatively new product for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a new product for us here in power sports. I know it's one of the flagship products for the company, that we originally started back in 1957 with. So to have it in the power sports division now is actually pretty exciting. So.
Yep. Very nice. Oh, that's great to hear. So for all of you out there, please tune in on Wednesdays to the YouTube channel. It's LIQUI MOLY USA, and it's Powersports TV. So that should be exciting. Hey, Jason, LIQUI MOLY is involved in racing all over the world. What series are you involved here in the U.S. and Canada in Powersports?
So over in Canada, we've got the Canadian Superbike that we support, and we attend all of those events. Over on the U.S. market, we actually support Moto America, and we've got the LIQUI MOLY Junior Cup. So all of those events we've got staff at and booths, so guys can come over and ask questions and view the product. And it's also nice because it's not just someone standing at the booth; it's actually one of us that has the technical background that can answer the question. So we're not only there for the people that come and view the race, but also for the racers. So they get an opportunity to come by the booth and check out the stuff. So that's been really good for us.
Oh, very nice. I've been out to a few of the Moto America races, and it's really fun racing to watch. So hopefully they get back to it this year. That would be nice. The LIQUI MOLY Powersports line of products has really only been around in North America for a few years now. Where can the average rider find the products?
So the best thing to do right now is to jump over to our website for starters. Look on there. It's going to have obviously all the product SKUs, the part numbers, and then what you're going to want to do is go over to your local shop, your dealer that you like to buy from. And as long as you have a part number, they can actually get anything through Parts Unlimited. Now, that's a new distributor for us here in the U.S., which is the largest powersport distributor. So any shop that's out there has access to the line. The biggest thing is just to make sure you have the part numbers if it's not stocked on the shelves yet.
Okay, great.
And then also, you know what, Mike, for those of there's also some guys out there that like to do their purchasing online. If you're that particular guy, you might want to just grab the part number off the website. Again, you can jump over to cyclegear.com and punch in the information in there, and you can actually get it directly from them.
Sure. That makes it easy. Well, Jason, I sure appreciate you coming on our inaugural edition of the LIQUI MOLY podcast. It's great to have you, and we're really looking forward to the new LIQUI MOLY Powersports TV show on the YouTube channel. So good luck with that, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon. I know somewhere down the road we plan to do a full edition of the LIQUI MOLY podcast just on Powersports, so we have a lot to talk about. So again, I appreciate you coming on.
All right, perfect. Thanks again, and make sure for everybody listening, don't forget to go over and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you also follow the IG for all the latest stuff coming.
Perfect. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Mike.
After talking about racing and powersports, I wanted to talk about a more serious topic, and that is how the coronavirus pandemic has changed things here at LIQUI MOLY. To further discuss this, I've invited on Dave Bibb, Director of Sales for LIQUI MOLY USA. Welcome to the LIQUI MOLY podcast, Dave.
Hi, Mike. Glad to be here.
Well, good. Dave, you've been in this industry for over 30 years. Have you ever seen anything like this pandemic before?
Absolutely not. This, Mike, is something that the pandemic, the reaction, the system-wide impact on distribution is I've never seen it. We've had recessions. The industry, you're not buying cars, you're fixing them up. When you're buying cars or not fixing them up, you're selling them. So there's always kind of an insulation to our industry. This is pretty much shutting down the business, and I've never seen anything like it. Nothing like it economically.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. What changes have you incorporated within the LIQUI MOLY sales force?
Well, that was pretty fast. The changes we made. The first changes we made was to go to the associations, the CAWA in California, the Auto Care Association, and find out legally what's going on in the industry when it came to essential business. And the interpretation across the country, it varied. So to be on the safe side, we gave our guys initially the option to make sales calls in the field and keep safe distance, or make work at home over the phone. That quickly evolved into staying at home and working our CRM, reaching out to our customers, not making sales calls. That's been the last 2 weeks, and helping them with training, we set up a program where we could invite shops and part stores to get online and get segment training, whether it be oils, whether it be additives, etc. And we're going to continue to do that until the authorities allow us to get back out and make calls.
Okay. Now, you mentioned some of these things you've incorporated. Do you think you'll continue to use these after the pandemic ends?
I think so. I think absolutely. It's a shame, but a lot of times, hard times like this or unusual market impacts force companies to look at themselves and see where they can improve. And what we did, we are very good at training, but we found another method through web training. We always talked about doing it, but now we were forced to do it. And all of our guys are armed now with the ability to web train. And I think we'll take that forward after this thing comes out of the chute and and business is doing better.
Dave, how soon do you think the automotive aftermarket will be back at full throttle?
Well, Mike, I'll tell you, it's a crystal ball question. Obviously, we've never seen this before. I think full throttle across the board in all segments of the aftermarket is going to be probably Q4 of this year, Q1 of 2021. I can tell you that our people, our sales teams are staying in touch with their customers as we speak via webinars and training and calling up our customers to assist over the phone and staying in contact. So we hope to be out of the gate ourselves much sooner than that, as soon as the governments give people more liberty to move around and not have the stay-at-home requirements. So Q4, Q1 next year, we want to come out of the blocks ourselves sooner than that. Just depends on the restrictions that the government has and when they lift them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dave, I appreciate you coming on the podcast and giving us a little bit of insight into how you and your sales force are handling this. And, again, I hope your family and yourself stay healthy and sane. I know you're cooped up at home.
Likewise. Well, it's funny. We've been just as busy or busier because it's a change of routine, and all of our sales team and myself and management, we find ourselves with plenty to do. So I appreciate your sentiments, and likewise for you and your family.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
That wraps up our inaugural edition of the LIQUI MOLY podcast. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us. Dave Bibb, Director of Sales for LIQUI MOLY USA, Jason Hess, Western Regional Powersports Manager, and of course, Will Turner from Turner Motorsports. I'd also like to thank all of you for tuning in, and please stay healthy. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, LIQUI MOLY USA, and on Instagram at liquimoly.usa.canada, and YouTube, and see Jason Hess's new Powersports videos at LIQUI MOLY USA. Please join us again next time on the LIQUI MOLY podcast. And if you have any questions on LIQUI MOLY products, please give us a call at 888-MOLY-OIL. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the LIQUI MOLY USA podcast. Please join Mike on our next episode to keep up to date on all that is going on with LIQUI MOLY in the United States and Canada. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For additional technical information, please give us a call at 888-MOLY-OIL. That's 888-MOLYOIL.